Hello and welcome back to the How to Get an Analytics Job podcast. In this episode, our guest speaker is Nikita Gupta, who is one of the co-founders at FAANG. This organization focuses on helping you get an analytics job at one of the big five tech companies. They focus specifically on resumes, LinkedIn, and mentorship. In this podcast episode, we're going to be focusing on resumes and LinkedIn. I've pulled my student Ben Knuff from my Greensboro College class, and we're going to make over his resume and his LinkedIn. Now, the initial plan for this podcast episode was geared towards helping him get his first job offer, but things went a little sideways and actually a pretty nice way. So Ben actually accepted his offer 3 days before we recorded this episode. So now we're going to be pivoting the conversation on how can he maintain his resume and his LinkedIn so that if he wants to get his next job, he's going to be ready to go. So we're going to have a detailed breakdown of his resume where he can improve. And then also it's pretty cool because he has applied a lot of the advice that he was given in episode 1 of season 2. So we get to see kind of an evolution of his LinkedIn. And then Nikita gives some more nuanced advice on how he could improve his LinkedIn profile even further. Then we're going to round out the episode with our social media manager, Al Bellamy, facilitating the Q&A section. So the questions that you guys submitted to us on LinkedIn, he has gathered them up, and we're going to have a conversation with Nikita on the questions and concerns that you guys have. This podcast episode is brought to you by Panoply. Panoply is a platform built for analysts that connects over 60 different data sources. This makes it easy for you to explore your data in SQL, visualize it in tools like Power BI or Tableau, or even analyze it in your favorite programming language. Click the link in the description down below and you'll get a free 14-day trial to panoply.io. If you guys are getting value out of the podcast, the best way that you can give back is leave a like, a comment down below, or even share this video with your network. This is going to help boost our signal out on the YouTube algorithm so that we'll get more exposure and we'll be able to help even more people. Without further ado, let's jump into the podcast episode. Hello and welcome back. So we just looked at YouTube, and Nikita, you've been on just a month ago. I feel like we're getting closer and closer as friends. So how are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you?
It's 9:11 p.m. here, so it is late, but I've actually just got a second win, so I'm feeling pretty good about things.
Yeah, I think it's in Seattle, it's 6. I just got off with a work and I was looking forward and I just was like, okay, I have to record.
That's true. I feel like we underestimate the investment of energy into like putting on a performance, like teaching and putting on the podcast. Also, I just got a huge, burst of energy because Ben has some news. He just accepted a job offer. So the initial plan, and this happened
Oh,
with Sharon as well, where the plan was to get Christina's resume critiqued by someone at Wake Forest to get her in the program. And then like a day or two before that podcast episode, she got accepted. So I feel like 2 of the 7 students have already like gone through the program and they're killing it. So I couldn't be, I'm super excited. I couldn't be happier. So I guess let's pivot the conversation because it was going to be around just how can you build your resume to get in the door. But Nikita, I want to get your thoughts on kind of job tactics because Ben, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got this job offer?
Okay, yeah. So I guess it was last spring of 2020. I was searching for an internship in the business analytics field. And I reached out to a few mutual friends of mine that were in the Washington, D.C. area, which is where I'm from and where I was looking for an internship. And one of them reached out to me and said that they had a business analytics department. And it's a smaller government contracting firm. So I went through the process and ended up getting the internship. And I loved it. I thought it was some cool work. I was a cost analyst. And I really got to know my, got to know my bosses, and I really enjoyed the company. And then a few months later, few conversations later, they ended up offering me a full-time position as kind of an extension of the internship.
Wow, that's awesome. So Nikita, what are your thoughts on this? Is this typical? Do a lot of internships turn into full-time jobs?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're working in a good organization and you perform really well, they are more than happy to give you an offer because obviously they have trained you in last 3 to 6 months. They have invested their time and you've been associated with them. You have seen their culture, you've been in their team, they have been your mentors. So it's easy for them to give you an offer rather than going again in the market and hiring someone. So I think Ben did a really amazing job. So congratulations, first of all, Ben, that you have already landed an offer before. I mean, because the job market, everyone knows, is very difficult, and to go like in the hunt of a new job after you graduate, it's totally a different scenario and it's very different. So it's better that if you convert your internship and land an offer before you even like end your course or end your education, it's better that you do that, and it will be good that you don't have to go again back in the job market. So I think that's a amazing thing what he did, and I recommend that if anyone can do that who already have a internship and they're working in a good company, because if they're working in a very small startup, chances may be less. I'm not saying it's 100% like totally that they won't convert, but chances are little less as compared to if you work in any of the big companies, like mostly FAANG companies like Amazon and other Google and all. They for sure convert if you really perform well, because they have the like that thing also, and they say that when they hire you, that if you perform well, we will definitely take you and try to convert you and fit you within our team.
Yeah, well, and also Nikita, you said off air, looking at his resume, man, you got a little lucky because that resume needs some work, which I think that we
Yeah.
should stick to that initial plan of we're going to look at Ben's resume and his
Yeah.
LinkedIn profile. But
Yep.
also too, Nikita, there's even more news as far as the podcast goes, because
Mhm.
so last episode we had Michael Galarnik come on and review
Mhm.
our Tableau Public portfolios, and then
Mhm.
he actually had one of his friends, Jay Swainio,
Mhm.
like we looked at his GitHub profile. Turns
Okay.
out that GitHub profile landed him an interview as a business intelligence analyst at Amazon. So, I mean, and now Jay's going to be coming on the podcast
Mhm.
in March to actually kind of
Yeah.
talk through his
Mhm.
experience, you know, building the portfolio and also interviewing.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm really really excited about that. And
Mhm.
do you at FangPath do you guys talk much about portfolios? I know you guys focus on resumes and
Yep.
mentorship.
Yep. So we do talk about, because obviously if you are coming from a core technical background, you need to have your GitHub profile updated. You need to kind of make sure that it's quite visible. People are, I mean, I don't have much experience about the GitHub because I had it when I was doing my bachelor's. I had the GitHub profile, but it was like just made it for the sake of making it. I never gave like a proper attention to it, but it's highly recommended for from all the mentors who are working with us, that whoever sees their resumes and we ask them that, do you have your GitHub? Do you have any portfolio which we can showcase, which we can highlight in your LinkedIn profile as well as in your resume? Because that will show that on top of your education, while you were working, sorry, while you were studying, like Ben was studying, what else he did, or what code he has written, what else things were there in his profile and his portfolio. So that kind of can directly land the hiring manager to that, and they can get the access of it, and definitely it will help you to pump your profile as compared to the people who don't even have a GitHub or a profile. Like profile portfolio is very important for people who are working in UX, and they need to kind of say that you need to showcase your portfolio. Even I think a lot of applications ask for a link of the portfolio from the UX people, especially because that is really, really important for them to showcase what work they have done. Based on that, their interviews and the process kind of continue. So this is where we kind of, because a lot of UX people comes to FangPath and we have UX mentors also. So that is a conversation we have with them. And for the, especially for the software engineers and the people who are like into the even analysts, like you mentioned about Tableau. So we tell them like, do you have any Tableau portfolio? Do you have anything which we can showcase? Because that will highlight and that will add value.
Awesome. So I think let's just jump over to a screen share, and I'm really excited because man, there's so many things going on. So what I took the students after class on, then was it went Monday? Yeah, because it's Wednesday
Monday.
today. Yeah, so after class on Monday, we went down to the media center, and I actually took the camera that I'm recording on right now, and we did headshots. So I'm so excited to get to show that off. So I'm going to do a screen share, and I guess let's start with his resume.
Sure.
So, because I know, Nikita, you have quite a bit of notes that
Yeah.
you and some feedback.
Yeah.
So I guess let's just start from the top.
Yeah, sure.
What's going on?
Yeah, so to have a better clarity for the audience who will be kind of going to see this video, I want to ask, like Ben has already told us everyone, and you have kind of clarified that he already have a job, right? So
Mhm.
everyone will think that why I'm now giving review on his resume and his LinkedIn profile, because he already landed with the same resume, his job, his internship. But I think from Ben, I would like to know, like, did you apply it online or did you get a referral? Because I think I remember that you mentioned that you got a referral through a friend, right? You never applied online for this particular role.
Correct. Yeah. So I reached out to that friend, like I had mentioned earlier, and
Yep.
basically all I had to do was email him my resume, and he passed it on to his bosses, and we had a conversation.
Got
And
it.
the resume was not nearly even as good as this one, so it's come a long way.
Got it. Yeah. So I think Ben has clearly told everyone that this resume or even his previous resumes never went through a direct apply button, or when he was applying, it went through a referral, and also it has modified to the version which he has previously kind of shared with his friend, the referral one. So that's why I would like to kind of give some recommendations on this resume, because this resume need work according to me, and it needs kind of improvement in the right direction to get him shortlisted when he apply directly online.
I've got a question. So this is a yes or no question.
Mhm.
So in the previous podcast episode with Sharon Vogler,
Mhm.
she went in depth about job
Mhm.
scan and applicant tracking system.
Yep.
Do you think Ben's resume would have gotten past that filter?
Yeah, I think that Ben can clearly tell us, Ben, when you were applying online, were getting like a lot of rejections, or were you able to land at least one interview through directly applying, like not through referral?
No, actually, I was fortunate enough to get two interviews with two different companies through referrals. So I
Yeah.
haven't technically put my resume through an applicant tracking system or anything like that yet.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it. I think if he would have gone it, I mean, definitely there are keywords which are missing, and there were things which he can improve and can add in to make sure that his resume pass through the ATS. But definitely everyone who's watching, they can pass their resumes through, as you mentioned, job scan. They give like 2, 3 free trials, and you can pass your resume with the job descriptions you are applying and make sure that it's matching 80 to 90%. And the same thing applies for LinkedIn. So I tell everyone that pass your profile to that, so that it shows clearly that okay, this is how much it's matching, and now how you have to improve it. And also it gives you little bit of like a list of keywords which you can add in your resume, that it helps you going forward. So that is where you can take like the help of that software which they have built. But definitely after I think 2 or 3 trials they charge, and it's not free. So if you want to go ahead of it, you need to kind of pay them. So in Ben's case, I definitely feel that there are things which need to be changed before he could apply online and go through that process.
Definitely.
All
Cool.
right, so let's get into it. Let's roll our sleeves up. Where is the work that needs to be done here?
Sure. Yeah. So I think the first thing is, because in your like header, the first 2 lines which you've mentioned after your name, it should be added in one line rather than having it in a 2 line. So that is something which can help you like manage the space. It gives you a full one line free. And on the same hand, you are not adding your LinkedIn. That is really, really important, because everyone who looks at your profile, a hiring manager or recruiter, anyone, they need to click on their LinkedIn. Also, LinkedIn is equally important. So you need to make sure that you have a LinkedIn link in your like under your name. That link is there. It should be there. Then in your education, and yeah, before even we go into education, one important thing which is missing is summary. Summary is very, very important in terms of, because when I saw your resume for the first time, I was not sure whether you were looking for an internship, whether you were looking for a full-time role, or whether like what exactly are you applying for. So
Mm,
make like 2 to 3 lines and just add like what is your profile, what exactly you're looking for. That will help me understand, or any hiring manager, that what exactly is you looking for. Then when we come to education section, now if I counted, you have made your education section into like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I mean sorry, 6 lines. Instead of
mhm,
6 lines of dividing into this, you can make it in like 3 lines, because you have divided like major minor separately. In
mhm.
and also CGPA you have taken one separate line, so rather than that you would have added in the same line. And on the same hand, you should start and the end date. You have just mentioned May 2021, so I'm not sure you are starting your education or you're ending your education. So that is
Okay.
something we give me. And how long is your education? Because I don't know how long is your bachelor's, right? Sometimes it's 3 years, sometimes it's 4 years. So that is where you need to work on. And on the same hand, awards, because you have mentioned in the education section, and you have gotten like very good awards in terms of dean list and all other things, highlighted in a separate section, which can be like below your projects and work experience, but added in a separate section and highlighted in a good way, like highlighted in a pointer way rather than adding it in a one line. So
Okay.
that is something you can add later. Then in your work experience, one thing which I can like I want to tell you that there's lots of inconsistency in the form of the content part, right? In the education, the first line you have mentioned everything in small and it's in bold, but when you go into the work experience section, everything is in capital and it's not bold.
Mhm.
So if you're giving heading and if you're making it, make it look consistent. The most important thing is like it should, like whoever is going to see it, it should look consistent, and it should be, obviously the good part is that you have added pointers, but the thing is that the consistency should be there so that it's easy for anyone to read through it and it looks clean also basically. Then if I have to go through each of the pointers what you have added. So you have worked for your first internship as cost analyst intern. Okay, good. You have mentioned the location. That's also good. Start and ending date. And then after that, you have worked for this. So the thing is like, can you just scroll a little bit down, John, so that okay, leadership experience, attributes, awards. So you've added awards twice. First thing.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know why you did that, but you've added your words twice, which is not necessary. Then I mean I will go back again to experience section, but I'm just seeing what extra things you have added. What is attributes? I have no clue. What is attributes?
Those are just like my soft skills, I guess.
Yeah, so instead of, because attribute is like something which is not a common word and people might, so it's better that if you write like a separate section and put the name as skills,
Okay.
and in that add like hard skills, soft skills, and separately it can be readable, right? Because here I think if I'm not wrong, you are adding soft skills, personable, effective communicator, time manager.
Mhm.
Okay, so again, the first 3 or 4 things were, I think creative is still fine, but first three I don't know what exactly you are trying to kind of put in here. So instead of that, try to take the keywords or something which are mentioned in the job description. So when you read the job descriptions again and again, there are few soft skills which are mentioned in each of the job description, but
Okay.
you have to read that again and again. So you need
Okay.
to add those skills rather than adding like time manager or personable. I don't even know like what exactly were you trying to kind of say here. Collaborative is good, organize is good, creative is good, but the first three and adaptable, okay, I don't know. So that's where I'm saying that
Right.
add a skill section and divide that into that. Then awards, you can have a separate section, follow the same format from top to down, use the same format and then add that section.
Yeah, I
What is
think
qualif
that he could
yeah.
use, so Ben, essentially with those attributes, you're trying to get like those keywords from JobScan.
Right.
So basically what you can do when you're applying for your second job or your third job, just find the job description, run it through JobScan, and I would make sure that each of these resumes is tailored towards each of the positions that you're applying for.
Totally. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Then qualification pending DOD secret. I don't know what is this. What
Yeah,
are you trying
so
to tell?
so this kind of, I guess, goes off like tailoring it to a specific job. For the job
Mhm.
that I just committed to, you need to have a secret clearance, like with the government, and so
Okay.
that qualification hasn't cleared yet. So I just have on there pending. I don't know if that's a
Okay.
good or
So okay, so for this case, because this was really, really important for you and it was mandatory kind of a thing because you've high. So instead of writing it in this way at the end, because it was so important, you can put it in the header in a correct way rather than
okay.
putting it at the end. And this is for someone who's like, for example, someone is having a visa and they are looking for a sponsorship, right? So they can highlight at the top so that in the end, like a lot of people have recently kind of they are international students, right? So they face a problem that the companies say no to them for the sponsorship and companies give do their interviews and everything and then they're like, sorry, we can't sponsor you. So it's better that if you clearly highlight your resume somewhere that we need sponsorship or we are on this visa. For example, in my case, I don't needed any sponsorship. I was on H4 EAD. So it was clearly mentioned at the top in my resume that I was on H4 EAD. I don't need any sponsorship. So that
Okay.
clarifies everyone that this is what you have, this is your status, and they don't have to find it or search it basically because it's like third last line in your resume and you mentioned that it was very important.
Yeah.
Then soft skills, I've already told you that you can make a section and add that. And then organization, delta mu. Okay, you were part of this organization, right?
Yeah, it's an international business honor society that I was inducted into.
Got it. So instead of writing this again, the consistency or the format you have not followed, instead of that, you should add a section called activities, extracurricular activities, or something of that sort, and in that add these things, rather
Okay.
than rather than just writing like that and not making it a pointer because it makes your resume will look clean and better in a way. Then we can go in leadership because experience section I'm not going because it will take me time to go through each of the line and reformat it, but I can go back again later. So for the experience section you have mentioned, you were the, again the thing is like heading is all capital, but in the previously I was like it's small and then it was bold, it was not bold. That is something
Right.
which you need to work on. uh, I'm just reading what you have written so that I can just quickly give you few pointers.
Wait, so Nikita, I've actually
Yep.
got a
Yep.
question. So we may have
Yep.
talked about this in
Sure.
the last podcast episode, but
Yep.
so for this student, for this analytics or student analytics
Mhm.
practicum, the students in my class last semester, so the same cohort, they actually
Mhm.
did quite a bit of analytics work for the YouTube
Mhm.
channel. Um,
Yep.
where would you put or recommend putting student projects like that?
Yeah. So if you have not worked as an intern or a full time like a role, please don't put it in a work experience because that is very misleading, right? It was your personal project and you were working it because you want to learn something new or you were working on your free time, right? So it's not a work experience part. Put it as a project part or put it as an academic project. If it's not your academic project, put it in your personal projects. Like don't put personal projects, but just put the heading as projects because that will help you. And in I think because you just or even you're not even graduated, right? You will be graduating, but I can't find any projects as an academic person who is a fresher, who is going to graduate soon. I at least should have like 3 4 projects in your resume. I mean, I know that you have worked as an intern, you have worked as a student analytics practicum, that is good, but on the same hand I need to see what projects you have worked, or at least if you have some links or something like John was saying, some GitHub link or some other link for the portfolio, add that. Like there should be something which
Right.
I should see that you have done in your work, sorry, in your education while you were doing your bachelor's, which is missing in your resume completely.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, Ben, you could throw your Tableau public link in there.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Also,
totally.
too, like
Hmm.
right now, you're working for one of my consulting clients doing
Yeah.
the Analytics Minor Capstone project.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking probably you should have work experience, and then Nikita, would you call it
Yeah.
student projects or just project section?
Academic projects. If he's doing, it's related to university, then academic. If not, then normally projects with the heading
Okay.
of projects. Yeah, and one more thing. if you are feeling that, okay, I don't, because already you will remove a lot of lines, right? You will have space for your projects for sure, because you have added a lot of repetitive content and you have wasted your lines, so you can do that. But on the same hand, one good thing, one recommendation which I would like to give everyone, that when you write pointers in your experience, make sure that it's aligned to the time period you have worked in. For example, you have worked in this company as an cost analyst intern for May to August. So it's how many months? May, June, July, like 3, 4, 5 months, right? Not
Yeah.
not not more than that, right? It max 4, 5 months, and you have
Mhm.
added like 4 pointers. So the thing is, like, if you have worked in the same company for more than 2, 3 years, then it makes sense to add more pointers. But if you have worked for so like just for few months and you're not having space, cut it down, like
Okay.
keep it to 2 pointers. But those 2 pointers should add value, that those 2 pointers should be aligned to the job descriptions you are applying for. So you need to
Got it.
reformat again and again, you need to work on it again and again, and it should have the keywords which are required in the job descriptions, but just 2 lines. And on the same hand, one thing is, other than the 300 thing, he is into analytics and coming from the same background. When you are into analytics, you play with data day and night, and you have been doing that. I can't see any numbers
Mhm.
other than the 300, which is something which I can see in your second part. When you are a data person, you've been playing with data and you have so many numbers to add in. Why not adding it? Because that shows your impact, that while you were working with this company for 5 months or 4 months, how you have analyzed their data, what was the impact, what was the like, maybe for example, you have reduced their turnaround time by 30%,
Mhm.
you have automated this stuff, and it resulted in what can I say, manual effort by 40%. Something of those sort of numbers should be there, which is completely missing in
Ben,
your.
do you have numbers like that?
For the cost analyst position?
Yeah, I think the problem that I'm seeing is that a lot of interns aren't even thinking of the
Mhm.
impact of their work. They're almost
Yep.
thinking of it like, oh, I'm just lucky to be here. I'm going to learn as
Mhm.
much, instead of thinking about what's my
Mhm.
goal, what's the
Yep.
impact, and then quantifying that. I think that
Yep.
that is, well, actually, I'll just let you answer. Did you have any quantifiable impacts?
I mean, I definitely would have to go back and take some time to think about it.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that I did. Maybe I just didn't
Mhm.
realize it, when I was writing stuff down and kind of trying to
Yep.
capture what I just learned. But I'm 100% sure that I did. I'll just have to kind of think about it more.
Well, because the I had 3 internships during my MBA. 2 of them, I worked for a middle level manager at a billion-dollar company. I
Mhm.
didn't know the impact of the work that I did.
Hmm.
It seemed like the work that I did made someone look
Mhm.
good or bad. But if I were going back, 5 years into this now, I would have said, "Here, we need a framework. What is the so what?" Um,
Yep.
and it's a little bit of a weird conversation to have as an intern of, let's sit down and let's be a little bit more
Mhm.
methodical and
Mhm.
strategic about the work that I'm doing. Like you can kind of
Mhm.
soften up and phrase it up like, hey, let me help me understand the impact that I'm
Mhm.
doing so I can do a better job.
Yeah, that's a good
Yep.
point.
The thing is, like, while you were giving him, or you were talking to him, I just quickly read like his 4 pointers in the cost analyst intern, and the thing is, all the 4 pointers were telling me a different story. They were not related, and I could not like understand how, as an cost analyst intern, what data he used, what analysis he did, and what was the outcome of it. Like, you've mentioned that you've interacted with the client on supporting different analytical methods and techniques. Okay, what was the analytical techniques? Then how you supported, or what was the data you supported on? What was the end result of that support? What was the end result of that collaboration? So nothing is clear from that thing. Like, you've just added that I have done it. The thing is, this particular line and the second line, which you like, I'm just saying it, it's good for a product manager, or sorry, not a product manager, yeah, even product manager and a project manager, because you have mentioned that you have collaborated, you
Mhm.
have cross functionally worked with them. So these are the things. Or you have again mentioned supported multiple projects. So that is very good for a project manager, or even like when you're applying for a product intern, product analyst intern, or a project analyst, something of those roles, then it will be good. But as an analyst, I want to see what was the outcome, what data you use, what solutions you use. Like you've just mentioned in the third line, Excel. Other than in your 4 lines, I can't see anywhere what things you use, how you analyzed it, and what was the outcome. Nothing.
Can we actually workshop this? Ben, do you know, are you comfortable doing this like off the cuff?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah, that works.
So, okay, Nikita, let's slow it down. So you were saying, so the overarching question is, what did you do there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. In short.
Like, okay, so I mean, I guess we can go off of like the first bullet point. One of the main projects I worked on this summer or this past summer was consulting with the Marine Corps on a specific project that they needed to field and get out. And we basically consulted over multiple weeks with them, basically just trying to understand all of their costs and prices and get them the most efficient spreadsheet of all their numbers on a tool called ACIT. It's automated cost estimating integrated tools. So it was a new software that I used. But I guess that was kind of like the big project for me, and I worked in a team with 2 other people.
Got it. Okay, so if I can ask on this in your third, first of all, you led the development of a optimization tool in Excel to establish goals and schedule milestones and initiation, manage tool development to come eliminating in presentation to entire business analytics team. So like you can, while I was reading it, how it's kind of sounding like you can understand what while I'm reading it, that you have mentioned so many keywords, so many things, trying to add it and fit in such a long sentence. So there's no gap, there's nothing which I can found out of it. I, like you mentioned that you have taken their cost data, right, the client's data. So not, let's not add their name, but at least let's add that how big was the data. For example, it was like 10,000 rows or 1 million rows or something of that set, or large data set, something of that sort, that will show that you have worked on a data, the data was very big, and then you analyzed it using, for example, if you have just used Excel, you mentioned one more tool, right? I forgot the name, but you mentioned one more tool. Add that.
Yes,
You have used, yeah. So I've used that. I don't know whether it was a social media tool or was just a cost analyst tool or something. Maybe you can add that to make them understand what exactly that tool is, and then come up with that. Okay, this was the end result of it. This was the outcome of it, basically.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I think that we have talked about resumes for quite a bit of time. I am really excited that I get to show you off what we did in class on Monday. Or actually, this is an extracurricular activity because we left the classroom, walked to the building next door into the media center, which nobody was there. So I don't think people are seeing my messages. So look at this. Look at this headshot.
There we go.
Great headshot.
So Al was totally, actually to keep up with the lore from the podcast, Al, you want to see Shay's?
I do. Yeah, I just glanced at it earlier, but yeah, he hit the farthest to come. So
it was a great opportunity. So Nikita, just to fill you in, if you didn't see that episode, Al did the first episode of season 2, and he grilled one of my students a little bit because his picture was terrible. But yeah, this is looking,
now he changed it.
Yeah, that's looking a whole lot sharper.
To be fair, Shay was a very good sport about it, so I appreciated that. But
that's true. Yeah, Shay's awesome. I like Shay a lot. Sorry. So now let's move into kind of critiquing Ben's LinkedIn LinkedIn page, not portfolio, profile. So Nikita, what are you? Let's focus on kind of the headshot, the background, and the tagline.
The things. Okay, sure. Yeah, so definitely, as you mentioned, his headshot is perfect. It's really good, to the point, with a blank background and in a professional clothes. So that is something which we recommend to our people also, that you should have a professional headshot, because LinkedIn is not a dating app, it's not a social media, it's like a professional network where you network with people and try to find a job and an internship or any related to your career. Then you have a very relevant cover photo, which is really, really good, because you are looking for job opportunities, or career is around business analytics. So that is also really, really good. Then your header, it's also really good and apt, that you are mentioned that, okay, you are a business analyst, Tableau, Power BI. Do you don't want to add anything else? Because I mean, in terms of any other languages, tools, or anything related to analytics.
Those are probably the only two that I feel comfortable putting in
Mhm.
my bio. I haven't
Got it.
had any experience in any other coding languages or anything like that.
Got it. I think then it's perfect, because if you want to add anything, because there are people who are very good at several languages or several skills, they can add that. But you have added and put it like a concise. It's good that you are very sure about these two tools. That's why you have just added them, and you have clearly mentioned that you're a business analyst. Can we just click on his contact info? Because a lot of people don't update that. Okay, so you have added your email. If
Yahoo.
you're fine, yeah. If you're fine, you can add your phone number if you want, and on the same hand, add your any personal link. Like if you have any, like John was saying, you have a Tableau public link, right? So you can
Mhm.
add that. So if anyone clicks on it, they can directly lead there. Your about section
So
is to, yeah.
he's putting his Tableau public link within the featured. But also,
Mhm.
I wanted to
Yeah.
go back to, wait, Ben, did you have any act like before last semester, did you work with Tableau or Power BI at all?
No, just
Wow. So you feel confident with just that one class, the case studies and business analytics class?
yeah. I mean, I feel like obviously, like I just said, didn't know anything about them, but I feel like you were a super solid teacher, and I feel pretty comfortable with those
I'm very
programs,
flattered.
especially Tableau.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, but Nikita, so
Yep.
what we actually had the students
Yep.
add their specific links to the featured section.
No, actually, that's really good that he has done that. But if, because LinkedIn has that option that if you have your personal website or any other, like for example, GitHub link or anything, it's good that you can add in your contact info also. It's totally up to you whether you want to add it or not,
Oh,
because
I
you
agree. I
have,
think you should do
yeah,
both. Yeah. I didn't
yeah,
even think
because
about the contact
LinkedIn
info.
has that option. So why not use it? That's the only thing, because LinkedIn has given that option. So let's use that. Why to waste it? That's my whole thing. Then
Mhm.
when we go in his about section, it's way too short. I
Mm.
can't, like, it's just written that I'm currently in my fourth year at this university as a student athlete. This manage. Okay, okay. So this is way too short. You need to make sure that your summary is divided into different, uh, what can I say, paragraphs. One paragraph dedicatedly about yourself, what you are good at, what related to business analytics or analytics domain. Then one paragraph about your skills, and one paragraph how they can reach out to you. I know that in your contact info you have added, but make sure that you have it, that please feel free to reach out to me at this email ID, or I am looking for this thing, and have it good. The reason why I'm saying it, because if you add more keywords in your profile which you can't fit in your experience, you can put it in your summary. And
Got
when
it.
any recruiter or any hiring manager search for business analyst or something related to your profile, they will be able to find it, because the SEO works like that on LinkedIn, that you need to come up in their search engine, and you need to be get there. And before, yeah, even we go there, can you just go up at the top? I don't know if you have, there's an option which LinkedIn is very powerful. I tell that to everyone, that open to work thing, that should be done. I don't know if you have done that, because I think you're no more looking for a job. That's why maybe you have unclicked it. But
Mm.
open to work should be there. I'm not saying add that logo open to work, not that. I'm just saying there's a section which comes in, which says that which roles you are looking for, whether you're looking for remotely, and all those options. There are very various options. You need to put that, and that kind of helps recruiters and hiring managers to reach out to you, because that is really, really very important. So if you're looking for a job immediately, or even like doing side by side, you should use that option. That is really powerful thing in LinkedIn.
Got it.
Oh wait, also Al too. I just remembered you gave him some very specific advice about his background image. Do you remember what it was before?
I think it was one of the buildings at the college, wasn't it?
Right. And you told him that he needs to stop identifying as a college student and as an analyst. And I am so thrilled that the students are like taking this advice, digesting it, and acting on it. Like, and I feel like we're developing like a narrative and a story, and there's like a plot that's being driven. Because Ben, I'm so proud of you. Like not only have you landed the job, but you're like so coachable and you're applying it and you're just killing it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I get excited when I get some good advice, because I just want to keep getting better. So yeah, I'll take any advice I can get.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm just like Professor Proud right now.
Yeah, I think almost all of them had changed at least one thing the next day. I think just about all of them had new banner pictures the next day. I was so pleased.
That's awesome. You guys are taking the advice and implementing it. So that's you guys are being good students. All right. So wait, Nikita, where did we leave off? So we were at the about. Did we get down to the featured yet?
Yep. Yeah. So featured, I think because he has done it properly. I've mentioned his Tableau resume is there. I think he has been posting also some of them, and then he's put that in there in his feature section. That's really good. And I can see one of his posts. So I think you're already active on LinkedIn. So that's also really good that people recommend. And it's really good that you kind of do post things on your LinkedIn. And also it's recommendable that you post comments and everything on other posts also, right? You comment, interact with them or something of that sort. That will make your activity section more interactive basically. So that is also good that you're already doing it, I think.
Got it.
Awesome. So now let's, I guess, move down into the experience.
Yep, the experience section.
So this is
Okay.
an interesting point to talk about the Silvertone Analytics student practicum, because there is an option to list it as an apprenticeship, which I feel like is a pretty accurate description, but I don't know. I feel like it's, I don't want to be unethical in how I'm positioning the students that are doing kind of the work in the class.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if, as I again want to mention, like I said it previously, if it's academic project, then put it in a project type thing. It's not a experience full-time thing, but if it's something which where you were working, then maybe you can add that as a thing. And also in your resume, I saw that you have worked cost analyst in, okay, it's at the down, okay,
yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, so that is something. Yeah, one more thing I quickly noticed that I think he's not following the same format. Can you just scroll a little bit up on the link? Yeah.
Okay, so we did
Yeah.
this in class,
Oh,
so
okay.
there might
Got it.
be some discrepancies in
Same
how.
temperature. Got it. Yeah, I think so. Then it's good that I think it does not matter if you put it as not internship and you put it like this way. It's not going to affect in any way. It's fine, I think. So it has already ended or it's still going on?
What, the student practicum?
Yep, student
Yeah,
practicum.
so last semester, I brought the students on to study my YouTube data to develop 2 different YouTube ad campaigns, and then we kind of had like a friendly competition. What they're doing this semester is they're now working with 2 of my Silvertone Analytics consulting clients. So they're working on different consulting engagements. So
Got it.
how should they list out their capstone? So for actually what we can do, since he hasn't we finished it yet, we can actually come to my profile and I can show you how I listed my capstone project. So I did my
just one quickly thing, because I noticed in your resume you have mentioned this project below your internship, cost analyst intern. The cost analyst was up and then this was there, right? But here it's going up because you have done it later and you have done your internship. So make sure that your resume and your LinkedIn aligns.
Got
Yet
it.
they're not aligning. You have mentioned them up and down, and according to the time period, your cost intern should come down and this should go up. That is really wrong, because if someone clicks on your LinkedIn and they will be confused. I was also confused. And that's why I was like, where is cost intern? Like cost analyst intern, whether he done it or whether he has not
Uh,
added it.
Okay, that
So
makes
that,
sense.
yeah, because that is something you need to take care. And also it makes sense because how can you write May 2020, which ended in August, above which you have recently done? And you have mentioned here that you've already ended it. You started in September and ended in November. But I think in your LinkedIn, it says present, and also it's not ended.
oh,
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
yeah, I just need
Yeah.
to.
So yeah. So you need to. This is something which I want to tell everyone, that people don't care, or people don't just they update it once in a while, and that's where the problem comes in. That I've seen so many profiles that they don't even care, and they just say that, okay, give me recommendation, give me that. And I'm saying, I'm like, you have the data, you have everything, you need to just update it by yourself, because there are so many things which are not even updated. So I think make sure that even once you start your job, then also you take care of your LinkedIn profile. I'm not saying every week or every day, but make sure that every month you're going through it and updating everything, whatever you're doing, so
Got it.
that it don't stays. And it, because in the end, if you're looking for a job in like 2 3 years 4 years down the line, new job, again you have to find the job through LinkedIn or maybe via resume, right? So you need to keep on updating it. It's easy for you to manage it rather than doing it at one day after 2 years, and then you are like, okay, where I am now.
Mhm. Cool.
Right. I think that kind of gets into a career strategy as well. I think a lot of people feel like they get a job and then they just stop developing.
Yeah.
Like they're like, I'm comfortable. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know if this is a weird parallel, but like getting in really good shape, getting a good
Yep.
job to get a girlfriend, and then letting yourself go. Like it's kind of the same thing. Like
Yep.
you want to make sure that you're branding yourself, because
Yep.
I don't want to sound overly Machiavellian, but if you have inbound offers, the more options, like the optionality, like having a bunch of different options of what you can do will give you some chips when it comes time to barter within your salary. And then also you might just find another inbound opportunity that's better than the one you have.
Yep. Yeah, that's 100% true. And you gave a very correct like example because that usually happens. So yeah, it's quite relatable.
Well, I see a lot of it in the entrepreneurship space where a lot of, I see it with high level executives, people who are like CMOs of companies, they get laid off and then they want to start a consulting agency. And unfortunately, a lot of people in that space where they're used to making a lot of money, they have a very narrow network. So like going out and trying to start like an executive coaching business, they don't have a lot of people and like a network to pull on to launch that new business.
Yep. I think you're 100% correct.
All right. Speaking of the tribe and pulling in your network, Al, let's move into the Q&A section.
Okay.
Sure. Yep.
So we have 4 good questions from the channel followers. So longtime listener of the show, Milena Agudelo. So she is in nursing and healthcare, has been for about 10 years. And she is now transitioning into data analytics.
Okay.
So she just kind of asked a general question. I would say first, what do you do with a resume? How do you deal with that? Do you try and highlight the analytic aspects, or do you just let it be what it is and then say, now I'm doing this? I know that she is
Yep.
going through a master's program at UT Dallas.
Okay.
So general recommendations for her.
Can you just repeat what is her present role? I mean, sorry, what her background is?
So she is in nursing. It's some sort
Nurse.
of respiratory nurse, but it is nothing that deals organically with analytics.
Yep. And she's doing masters in analytics, if I'm not wrong.
She is, yes.
Got it. Perfect. Yeah, I think then she can leverage her master's degree in analytics, because I did the same thing. I was a software engineer. I did my bachelor's in computer science, and then I moved my profile via master's. It's an easy route when you want to kind of move it, rather than directly moving your profile, because obviously people don't consider you and they believe that you don't have any experience, which is true. But if you show them that you have a degree in the same domain, and you are trying to learn, and start from the basic, I mean from the step 1 or level 1, then it's easy for anyone to refer you or even consider you for an interview. So obviously she has very unrelated domain. My or my profile was still related, like I was a technical person, so still I was like, people used to consider me. But in her case, because she's completely from a non-technical background and she's completely from a different domain, she has to kind of highlight and do a lot of projects in her masters, which I'm assuming she will be doing. So she can do some courses, she can take up projects, and she can highlight them. And I don't know how much experience she has in the nursing area, the
Uh,
total work experience.
she has about 10 years in nursing.
Okay, got it. So she can't just remove that work experience, because obviously she has like 10 years of experience, so she can't just remove it totally. But maybe she can just add it in a 2 or 3 lines, and show that 2 3 lines in a way that in her 10 years what she did and how she realized that she want to move into this sector. So maybe, for example, she can say that when I was working as a nurse, or when I was doing in this domain, I had a chance to interact or see some of the biomedical data, because she is working in the same thing, and biomedical data is very important these days because of the COVID. So she got a chance to see that through some of her internal analyst, or maybe she can say that she was working internally, like Ben mentioned, collaborate, not cross-functionally with different teams in different analysts, and that made her realize that she want to do this rather than doing what she's doing now. And that story she need to kind of also use in her interviews, because that is very very important for her. Otherwise, it will be an issue for her going forward, that how to move her. People will ask her why you left this and why you are moving into analytics. So she need to reframe it in a proper story form. And the same thing she can, like, maybe she can just not add like 4 5 pointers for her work experience. She can add like 2 3 pointers, but 2 3 pointers should be little bit related to data.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think that should be great for her. So we have,
Also, wait,
what's up?
Ben, do you have any questions?
I'm good. I was taking a lot of notes. I think I got a ton of good information to apply to my resume and LinkedIn.
Well, because I'm realizing that I can dismiss class. I was going to say it's late. It's 10 p.m. So I'll let you get on with your night. But thank you so much for being on the podcast tonight. I really appreciate you kind of accommodating this later time frame.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me, and thank you, Ms. Gupta, for all the information and the helpful tips. And Mr. Bellamy, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too, man.
Hi, see you.
Great talking to you, Ben. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I feel like I'm being a bad influence keeping the students up this late.
He's not in high school. I think you'll be okay.
That's true. Yeah, right. All right. Sorry. Albert, I need to get used to calling you Albert.
Okay, I think friends can still go with Al. But
Al? Okay.
leave Albert on the resume.
Okay, perfect.
So next question is from Vikram Krishna. And he's asking, what kind of projects do the FAANG companies or just companies that screen heavily, what kind of projects do they look for in the resume or individual profiles for data science roles?
Data science roles. Okay. So I think you need to show a little bit of more technical side, because as an analyst, like when I was seeing Ben's resume, definitely you don't need to show too much of technical side. But as a data scientist or as an ML engineer, or even if you're going for any researcher role, you need to show more of data science, more of technical skills, that you have used Python, R, or any, like we have these, what can I say, algorithms, or I just forgot the name, clustering models and all those things which you use in data science, that you need to showcase and highlight. And these are the things which are the keywords basically. So you need to work on those projects and if he's in the same industry, maybe he knows better what exactly he's doing, and if he can showcase those projects. And also, as I again like want to mention, that read the job descriptions again and again, because a lot of the things will be mentioned when you apply for the data science roles. A lot of the things and the keywords will be there in the job descriptions only, but you have to see and you have to make sure that those keywords and those things you have worked, like don't bluff just for the sake of adding those things. Don't bluff that I don't know this particular algorithm, but I'm still mentioning it. Don't do that. I don't know this particular language, but I'm still mentioning it because it's mentioned in the job description. Don't do that, because obviously you might land an interview call, but you will be rejected in the interview. So don't do that. And we tell that to all our candidates, that don't do that. Just be sure that you know those things, you know every word of your resume, because many times the company starts their like behavioral round, and their first round of interviews, set of interviews, are based on your profile and your resume. They ask, they grill you on your profile. Okay, what is this project, what is the work experience, and all those things. And if you don't know anything about it, you have written false things, obviously they will reject you. So that is something which I think I want to like to tell the candidate.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So next question is from Abhinay Kumar. And he said, when applying for, again, data scientist roles, is there a type or is there a setup for the resume that you prefer? And I don't know that
Yeah.
you critiqued Ben's setup particularly. So is there certain
Yeah.
sections you want to see? Is there a certain order you want to see the resume in?
Yeah, so if you guys are fine, I would like to share an ATS resume template. It is ATS approved template, which is created by one of our FAANG mentors who's working with us, and he created it on Overleaf. So I can share the link with you, and you can put it in the description or share it in the chat
Okay,
anywhere, and
that'd be
they
great.
can use it. It's free of cost. They can use the template and they can follow it, and they can fit their resume in one page using the steps given there. Like they have the particular sections, you can use that and fit in your resume.
Okay. So if we've got time for one more, there's one question left, John David.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I've saved the best name for last. This is Ujwal Tuladar. What skill areas and programming languages should he focus on to gain interviews with
Mhm.
big tech companies?
Okay, so there is no hard and fast rule. There's not like I can tell like 15 to 20 skills today and boom, tomorrow you are landing a job or an interview call in Amazon or Microsoft. Again, I'm saying you need to find first of all relevant job for your role, because I've seen so many people that they just randomly apply. They don't even have those skills. They don't have never ever worked on those projects or those things, and they just want to apply for those roles. And on the same hand, one more big mistake what people do, candidates often do, is that they apply with the same resume for 10 different roles or 10 different areas. For example, you want to apply for a data scientist, data analyst, as well as a machine learning engineer. With one resume you can't apply in three different roles. So make sure you have three versions of your resume and you know three things very well. Like if you're applying for data analyst, data scientist, and ML engineer, you know everything very clearly in these three domains. If you don't know, please don't apply just for the sake of, okay, sometimes people candidate tell me that I am just applying because I'm so desperate to find a job. But this won't land you offer, or this won't land you a job. It is like creating more rejections for you. So rather than that, stick to one thing, stick to one area which you are good at perfect it, and you can very well do it in like in your future also. Because even as I said again, that if you even land a job and within like 6 months, 3 months down the line you're not able to perform, they might fire you, right? Like you are again in the job market. So don't do that. Stick to thing and do those projects or write those projects which you have done, not those things which are there in the job description. So add those things, add the work experience in the right way. Don't like add like, recently so many people have came to us who are like work experience with like 10 years or 15 years. I agree to the point that they have good experience and they are not sure how to add that in one page or even 1.5 page, but writing or sending a resume of 4 page, that's not a resume, that's a CV. So let me clarify here. Let's not apply with the CV, let's apply with the resume. So make sure that you have it clearly written resume and it's one page. And we have worked with so many candidates who have even like 10 years of experience. We try to fit their resume in one page and we have successfully done that. So that is the thing, but it's again a skill. And I mean, I know it's not easy to learn it, and it's quite needs a lot, but as I said that there were a lot of free tools. I am providing a free template, then jobs can you can use, and there are various other tools which you can use to just start with. And then on top of it, if you need any further help, like you can reach out to any one of us.
Awesome. That is all the questions we have from the followers, John David.
Wow. Well, I think we're about rounding out the hour mark. So, I mean, we're like right on track with a typical podcast interview. So, Nikita, thank you so much for coming on. I mean, I feel like this was a super short time between our last interview, but I mean, I still got a huge amount of value out of this. This is awesome.
No, thanks a lot again, both of you, for inviting me and for again letting me grill like Ben's profile. So it was a great experience because I can add value, and definitely it was like good for me also to provide the right guidance. And in the end, I'm also kind of building connections here. So I'm more than happy to help in any way to all the candidates who are watching or whoever wants to kind of reach out to me after this.
Absolutely. If you guys want to be grilled, reach out to Nikita.